Hello, beautiful people and fellow whiners, and welcome to another episode of A Little Something to Whine About with your host, Siobhan Camille,
And Ty Michelle.
where we whine while we whine, WINE, about life, love, relationships, culture, and more, because sometimes you just need to whine a little.
Or
It is, or a lot. It is 4th Wednesday, so we are here for the culture.
wait,
Um,
backwards. Hold up. Oh no, I was right. Okay.
We're here for the culture. And so we're gonna talk about Juneteenth, y'all. It just happened. We had to celebrate Father's Day because they were the same day this year.
They were the same day.
So we like a little
like this
party. We were a little tardy for the party. But we're gonna talk about this Juneteenth. So I hope everybody had a good one, celebrated, did do whatever it is that you do in your community, because we're gonna talk about the community today. So grab a glass of your favorite red, white, rosé, sparkling cider, water, lemon juice, grape juice, non-alcoholic, whatever you got, and join us on the couch. Please don't drink and drive. If you are listening to this on your favorite podcast platform, join us over on YouTube and see us in color. Get the facial expressions and stuff, the hands, the gestures, everything.
It's my YouTube. That's why. Well, this is technically why. YouTube. That's the T.
I don't know why she just had to make that so complicated, y'all. But come on over to YouTube. Good Lord Jesus.
It's been a long day.
God.
Oh, T. Oh, that was so easy.
Anyway.
Guys, that's how much it's been one of those days. I'm sorry if I look a little smoky. It's been one of those days. I am getting through. I hope you guys are getting through as well. As you know, for this month, we are featuring the wine. Hashtag prophecy.
Grab a prophecy.
Hashtag grab a prophecy. But the name of the wine is Prophecy. And this week, I am popping a grape, and I think Siobhan is as well. So before we get into our Juneteenth joys, concerns, friends, and foes.
This might be a little controversial, y'all.
It probably will be. Y'all know we don't. Y'all know we normal people. Like, we not politically correct people. We like normal. Like the people that you see, like when you go home to the cookout, or y'all in the living room chilling, like that unruly cousin, that uncle who say stuff they're supposed to be saying, or that sister, or that auntie. We those people. We those people. We just gonna tell you how we feel. You might not like it though. But before we do that, Siobhan, let us know about your popping grapes experience.
So I have a 2017 red blend, the Prophecy. It was either this or their Pinot Noir or Cab, and I don't really like Cabernet Sauvignon. I'm not a fan. And Pinot Noir, I'm not a fan. So I figure I'd just get the blend and get it out the way. So I don't know if I have high hopes or not. We here. It's here. You know.
We are sharing the same experience today, ladies and gentlemen, fellow winers. I have the red blend as well, and I have the red blend because I've had the red blend since Valentine's Day, unopened, sitting on my display of wines. Which now, because we did this brand, I have to re-up or find another brand to display. So because it was convenient, and that's pretty much it. And I wouldn't mind doing a Pinot Noir, but this is what I had already. So said, hey, it's here. Let's try it. I haven't had the red blend before, so why not experience the grape of the pop? on the podcast with you all. So jumping into the topic, Juneteenth.
For y'all who don't know the history of it, please go look it up. I'm gonna give y'all a real quick synopsis of what it was.
Okay, we can start
basically after 365 years in chains and bondage. I'm usually not great with dates, but I remember that, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, after 365 years in chains, the descendants of the original Africans that were brought to the United States in cross transatlantic slave trade, all that, right? They were freed in 1865. They were freed, yay. However, everybody didn't tell their slaves that they were free. Of course not. Why would we do that? Who would do that? Who would tell the free labor, y'all free, by the way?
Why not people?
Who's telling the free labor that they're free? Nobody.
What? So get over on people. Whatever do you mean? Yeah.
So, and I'm not even just coming at white people for that. That's just human nature. People do that.
Oh yeah, we did. That's just in general.
That's just in general. Like, who doesn't? Of course, nobody's gonna not take it.
Oh, you may not get this for free? Oh, I. That's what they did.
That's what they did. So they did that for, I want to, where, it was like 12 or 13 states that did. Was it that many? I want to say it was like 12. I don't remember the amount of states, but it was a bunch of states in the South, of course, who did this and didn't tell their slaves they were free until like years later. Okay. Now, that's what Juneteenth celebrates, is the freeing of the last slaves. The last slaves in these places officially knowing that they were free. I'm going to post a link on YouTube to a good site where you can read all the history of Juneteenth if you really want to deep dive into it. I did when I was like in middle school and high school, and I haven't like gone in it since. But here's your, again, overview. So basically, they did all this. There were some states who over the course of like 5 years trickled and let their slaves that they were free. The last ones were freed June something, 16, 17, 18, I don't remember, whatever, but somewhere between the 13th and the 19th, because it's the 10th of June, like 1870 something, I think, was when like the last ones were free. So Juneteenth is to celebrate that. I don't remember the state that freed the last ones. I want to say it was Texas, but don't quote me because I'm not Was it Tennessee?
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
Don't quote me because me and history are not friends.
Yeah, history and I are not friends. So I don't remember the last state, but I do know that Texas, ironically, was the first state to acknowledge Juneteenth as a holiday, a state holiday. But that's the history of Juneteenth. So Juneteenth across the country among the African American, Black American, whatever community has been celebrated for like a century. Okay, like since all that happened, it's been a thing. It's been a thing. Has been celebrated. Some states made it an official holiday. Most did not. And then last year, 2 years ago, it became a national holiday.
Last year.
Was it last year? Listen, I'm still on COVID time, y'all. I don't really know.
That's why I'm remembering it was last year, because I was home. I wasn't working when I heard it. And when I heard it, I was like,
You know what? That's true. I guess it was 01 because COVID actually went down in like 2020. So yeah, okay. So last year it was made a national federal holiday, and that is what we are here to discuss today. So that's the history of Juneteenth. Again, if you want a full link, come on over to YouTube. If you're not here,
us on so much stuff, we giving y'all like a general.
That's the big general
place to start. We giving you a started. We giving you the starting line.
That's the overall history. If you want the details, click the link.
Click the link. I'm gonna click the link myself because I need a refresher. I have not. Where Juneteenth was always something that was brought up in my household, so that we recognized it. It wasn't that thing, but it was definitely a recognition. It was definitely a conversation. Never really fully deep into it. But I feel like part of that was because talking about things like that can start to stir up certain feelings, and so acknowledging it without being, I hate this word, triggered, was what it was as far as my household went, because I have feelings about things, as we all do, and I know how I process things, and it's a whole thing for me, and my parents knew that. I have seen pictures of my dad literally in marches, and heard stories from my aunts, and it's a big thing. So it was acknowledged in my household. Was, like I said, wasn't like, woo, we're about to go out here and celebrate, do a cookout, all that. No.
See, I did. Where I grew up, Juneteenth was a big thing. Like, I celebrated Juneteenth for so long before I even knew what it was about. I just knew you checked your calendar in middle school. I remember the first Juneteenth I went to by myself. I was 12. The thing is, where I'm from, my dad was part of an organization which was for firefighters of color in the city, and every Juneteenth they did the parade. Like, they were part of the parade. So I grew up knowing about Juneteenth because my father was always in the Juneteenth parade, which started downtown and then went to the South Side. The South Side was Black. I mean, a lot of South Sides in this country are Black, right? So the South Side was Black. And that's where it was for a long time. They moved it when I was in high school downtown. It lost a lot of the
authenticity.
I'm gonna get there. But what it was for us was, it was just a great time to celebrate. And honestly, it was a day where, mind you, a lot of the East Side gangs did not come to the South Side like that. But if they happened to roll through, it was a day of peace, for real. Like, yes, violence did happen. Don't get me wrong. But as far as like the shootings and the gang, people didn't do that. And part of that was, you had the whole family out for Juneteenth. Like, you had little kids. And if nothing else, when the era I grew up in,
respect levels still there.
The era I grew up in, even thugs, hoodlums, gangsters, whatever, gang members had respect for children. So when you got all these little kids, and a lot of them had kids, I think was the other part of this, they weren't doing all of this shooting around kids. So it was like, you had the kids and you had the elderly out, because around like 10 o'clock, they always had a concert, and it was always a concert for like the senior tank. Yeah, for the senior tank. Because it was always like, I think Earth, Wind, and Fire came one year. Like, it was always the 70s, 80s, 60s, 70s, and 80s hot. When they were hot in those days, they came, and that was the concert. It was really great for the community. Because it was in the South Side, it was at the Southwest Community Center. So it was on Southwest side, technically. Southwest Community Center, and that whole neighborhood. It was great for the local businesses in the Black community. Like, that's where they got a lot of their money, was during Juneteenth. And we all went. I didn't know what it was about. All I knew was my mom would drop me off at the Southwest Community Center and say, bye. We're your friends, you with them. But I also, once I started dancing in this company, because it was a Black-owned company, we performed at Juneteenth. Mm-hmm. So I performed at Juneteenth for 3 or 4 years. I also did it once with my boo loves when I was teaching. So there's that too. But that's been my history with Juneteenth. And I think around middle school, I asked my mother, like, either 7th or 8th grade, when I was going like, what is this about anyway? What is Juneteenth? And that's when she gave me the history.
Yeah, it wasn't that for us. It just wasn't. I grew up in DC. So the federal government just made it a holiday last year. Clearly, it was not something that was just like broadcasted like that. Like, if you knew, it was one of those things like, if you know, you know. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, oh well. It's and I guess that's also, once I learned what it was, I was like, oh, okay. So it actually made me feel it made me sit up a little bit more. Carry with a little bit more pride, because it was like, oh, we actually do have a holiday of our own. A couple of weeks ago, we did an episode on our last photo culture called, protect, gateway for culture. You check the link above. I will put it up there so that you can watch that episode. And I feel like that's what they were doing. Juneteenth, where in my childhood, was celebrated within us. If you know, you know. If you don't,
Yep.
you don't.
Yep.
And it was protected.
Yep.
It was so protected where as I got older, when I would mention it around, just to be blunt about it, white people, they would get uncomfortable. So that was another part of me learning, why does that make you uncomfortable? As you get older, you learn a little bit more, especially when you start to see how systems and society, you really connect those dots. And so I think in the area where I grew up in the city, Washington, D.C., born and raised, that's where I was at. So it wasn't like, we're about to broadcast this.
We didn't broadcast it. I'll say this. So I grew up in upstate New York, and all of the cities of upstate New York had our own versions of, had our own celebration for Juneteenth. And they were all, right, to my knowledge, they were all kept in the city. And it was very much, or in the community. So even then, we all knew, because we all got together, and you may see a couple white people here or there. You may see a couple Latinos here or there, but you basically saw us. You saw Black Americans doing Black American stuff, everybody coming together, learning about their history, watching, reenactments, plays, all of this stuff, getting some good food, getting some good music, vibing, partying, day of peace. Cops were out in full effect because, again, when you get a bunch of Black Americans together, people already automatically assume it's going to be violence. Now, I will say there are a couple years that it did turn violent, and I know nobody's going to want to hear this, but 2 of those years I know for a fact because I watched everything that happened because of where I was sitting. And if y'all don't know me, I am the person to find a perch on high and observe. So I am the person I saw everything that happened. 2 of those years, I'm going to say that the cops escalated problems and made them worse. You don't have to like it. That's the fact of what happened. You had 2 girls fighting, and all of a sudden it turned into a whole lot more because the cops escalated it. You had 2 people yelling, it turned into more because the cops escalated it. Because they were already, while everybody else is in chill mode, I don't know what they told the police department. It's going to be but if you already amp people up to be on guard and protected, then any little hairpin, they're on a hairpin trigger. And that's what you got for 2 of those years. That was the last 2 years that it was, and this is why I don't think it was a coincidence. That was the last 2 years that it was on the South Side. After that, they moved it downtown. Now, here was the issue when you moved it downtown. Number one, as I said, it was a very big cash cow for the Black community because you had Black people from all over the city congregated on the South Side in 4 blocks. And it was getting huge. It was outgrowing the 1 block stretch the 4 block stretch on this one street that they had. But they really could have gotten permits or allowed permits to move onto the side streets and the next major street down so that it took up that. Instead, the city decided, oh no, we'll take it downtown. Why? Because there are a lot of white-owned businesses downtown. So now, and then you have to now charge people vendor fees and all these other fees that once the city gets involved on that level, now you're paying more fees. And it lost its luster because it was also a matter of while we were so condensed, you saw everybody you knew. It got too spread out, honestly, for the size that it became. It was and then it got segregated, internally within the community. For us, it was always a matter of, you saw the kids were here, the teens were here, the older people were here, but we were all on, again, it's 4 blocks. So it's all maneuvered in. When they moved it downtown, it really truly became, oh no, we're going to put the kids over here and we're going to put the teens right here and we're going to put the older people over. And it became generationally segregated where it wasn't, when it was just us. And when we were the ones leading it and we were the ones spearheading it, it was in our community. Once it got downtown, and again, once you put it downtown, now it does, like she said, now it becomes bigger and it's broadcast. Whereas it was really only mentioned on the Black radio station. Now it's mentioned on everybody's radio station because, again, everybody come on down to Juneteenth, even though y'all don't know what this is really for.
Not
Y'all,
even
y'all are treating it like y'all are treating this like it's the Greek festival or like it's October.
Yeah, you don't care.
And that's not what this is about.
Which is why we're saying all of this to say, well, I'm presumably saying, we're saying this to say, I appreciate the gesture, because that's what I'm gonna call it, it becoming a national holiday. Cool, great, we get national recognition. It's one of those things where we didn't need it.
I don't appreciate the pandering. I consider it pandering. I won't even call it.
But see, that's what I'm getting to. We didn't need it. We know, you know what I'm saying? One, we know how y'all truly, we know how the America truly feels about us. So now I feel like, oh, you throwing me a bone? You know, so to say, oh, we're gonna give y'all this holiday. We already had the holiday.
I already had it.
Whether you acknowledged it or not, we already had it. So you finally acknowledging it, okay, cool. But also what you're not going to do is acknowledge it and then turn it into a St. Patrick's Day or a Cinco de Mayo or, you know,
capitalism.
Capitalize on it. Like what? Like, and I know I'm glad Walmart, stupid as they were, took the ice cream down, but the point of the matter is why was it even out? You know what I'm saying? Like, why was that even a thing? Because this world of today is now in so much into diversity and inclusion. How, Sway? But how did you get there?
But that's the whole thing you were saying before about protect your culture.
Right. So that's one. Two, so no one thought, you know what, let's, outside of Target, let's put the Black brands in front as a celebration. Not that they shouldn't be in front all year round, which is how I truly feel. So, because it's Juneteenth, now you're going to give us some recognition. I feel some type of way about that, but you know what? I'll take that, because I'll take that and I'll support that Black brand after this as well. So that they know it's not just because of the holiday. You know what I'm saying? Like, so is that the other part is, I like another reason why I say I feel like you throwing me a bone is because while you throwing me this bone in schools, you're not trying to teach
what it's about.
What it's about. You know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't really teach for real what it was about not in PG County, at least when I was in school. Like, you really didn't touch bases on Juneteenth for real when I was in school. So now you guys don't want to teach on the real history at all, but you want us to celebrate this, which then raises the question to anybody with any type of brain. Well, what we celebrating? Well, what happened? That's the question, which means now you have to talk about it. But if you were talking about it from the beginning, people will already understand the symbolism that it's supposed to have with it now being a federal holiday.
My thing is, it wasn't for you. Everything's not for you. This was about Juneteenth, as we said in the history at the beginning, was very specific and particular to who it's about. It was about emancipation. It was about the freeing of the slaves who were supposed to already be free. And I guess that's the irony of this whole thing to me. This holiday itself came about because people told slaves they were free when they've been freed for years. So as you said, it's about, you threw me a bone. That's way overdue. And to this isn't even you throwing me a bone. It's you pandering to something I didn't ask you for. And at the end of the day, Juneteenth has been celebrated from Chicago to Dallas to Florida to New York to DC, around DC. I know that they had Juneteenth celebrations, whether they were huge or not. I know that they did in Black communities, even if it was a block party somewhere. I know that they did.
And when you started talking about that, I had to think about it. Over there by the big cheer, I'm not sure. And that's why I can't say that. I know
that they did only because when I went to college and I knew people in DC, and then we were talking about Juneteenth, it came up at one point, and they were talking about the stuff that they went to. So all the way to California, it's been a national holiday in the Black American community. And my thing with that is, I personally, and I think a whole lot of other Black people agree, didn't need you to co-sign on what I'm already doing. Imagine that's the thing that's crazy to me, and how so many Black people got so geeked up about it. It's no different than when you sit, because we talking to Black people. It's no different than we sit around and go, oh, imagine somebody being like, so this is my thing. We get so upset about, oh, now cornrows are cool because a Kardashian did it. Oh, now this hairstyle is cool because this other white person did it. Oh, now TikTok dances are cool because this white chick did it. And get annoyed by that. That same energy we need to carry when it comes to Juneteenth. Because we were doing this for a century. Ever since Juneteenth happened, we've been celebrating, and those celebrations grew across the nation to my little city of upstate New York. Okay, people? So we've been celebrating this thing. I don't need your validation. We don't need your validation. And honestly, at this point, I didn't want it. This was mine. And at the end, like, how many, I don't need anybody to coming up to me telling me happy Juneteenth. And I haven't had that, but again, at the same point, I work from home. I think the people in my company are a little more culturally sensitive to me doing all that, but that's not what it's about. It's not, it was never about that. It was about us. And I'm gonna make other people even more mad, because when it passed, it didn't pass with all the votes. And I'm gonna be honest, had I been in the Senate, I think was supposed to, or the House, whoever was gonna pass it, I wouldn't have passed it either. And I'm gonna tell you why I wouldn't have passed it either. Because of how y'all named it. And see, this is the other problem, because when you give your culture, or you allow somebody else to come in your culture and tell you about you, then they come and tell you about you. So now the official title of Juneteenth, which is why it is extremely divisive, is Juneteenth Independence Day. Ladies and gentlemen, Black Americans are not independent of America. We are not. It was not about independence. We are not a community that operates independently of the rest of the country. We do not have our own. I know a place. I'm gonna tell y'all this. Baltimore's Jewish population, kinda, because they got their own police state, they got their own cops, they got their own ambulance, they have their own hospital. Yes, they do. Black Americans do not have that. So there is no independence. We are not independent.
Part of it is because we can't. And history has proven that.
But that's fine. But that's not the point I'm making. My thing is, it's extremely divisive. It's extremely divisive because that's not the fact of the matter. Had they named it Juneteenth Emancipation Day, I'd have been here for that. Because that's what it was.
Which is what it was. It became a federal holiday. That's what it was. Because my mom, working for DC government, was always off on that day. But I never knew what that meant. So that's why I said, when you started mentioning the block, I said, you know what? When we buy the big cheer, was that what that was for? I know it was always in June, but I never put
two and two together.
So that may be what that was, because it was like a big block party, and the big cheers over there in Southeast off Minnesota Avenue, Pennsylvania Avenue. So if you're from DC, then you know. And they stopped doing that, and I'm thinking that that's what it was, because it was on the Strip. It was like a very, very, very small theater. And it had a little stage, and they would always do like some type of Black history, like play or skits or something. And I remember we used to go in and watch. Now I'm recalling, fragments start peeking through your memory. And I'm thinking maybe that's what that was, without me knowing it. That's what that was. But I do remember my mom always being off because she worked for the DC government. DC government had always recognized it but it wasn't recognized federally. And I know that because my mom worked for DC government and my sister's mom worked for federal. So that was a whole thing.
But that's my point. Like my issue when I read who knocked it down or who voted against it, and I saw all these people talking about it's divisive, and I was like, how, Sway? And then when I went and looked and said, and I saw the official name of Juneteenth is Juneteenth something National Independence Day, I was like, America as a country has an Independence Day because it is truly independent of Britain. America is truly independent of England. It is its own sovereign nation. Yes, it is independent. If England were to fall into the sea tomorrow, America still goes. It's not that. When it comes to the Black community, the same cannot be said. And as far as that goes, Juneteenth wasn't about independence. It was about emancipation. It was about freedom. And being free and being independent are not necessarily the same thing. They're not the same thing. This was about emancipation. So yes, the people who wrote this, you wrote it to be divisive, because had you just called it National Juneteenth National Emancipation Day, I think you would have gotten more supporters. But that's my issue with all of this anyway. It continues, and I'm gonna leave everybody else out of this. It continues the Black-white divide, because that's what this is about. This is how this all started. White slave owners, Black slaves. There you have it. It continues this divide when you do things like, oh, Juneteenth, National Independence Day, when there's already a National Independence Day. For what? Like, what's the point in the division? Because it's not even accurate to the meaning of that word. It's not. We are not nationally independent. We're not. We're nationally emancipated, but we are not independent. So that whole thing was crap to me anyway. I have always appreciated Juneteenth because I saw it bring community together, because I saw gang members chill the hell out for a weekend. I saw the three gangs that I said earlier when we were doing our one-on-one that my ex had to walk through. They were all on the south side. He lived on the south side. All three of those gangs were at Juneteenth. All colors of flying, yellow, green, and something else were always together. And you would still see purple, because that was the east side. Purple rolled through real quick, and it was like, we Black. And it was that. It was a day to just be like, yo, whether you got green, blue, purple, pink, whatever bandana color you got hanging out your back pocket, wrapped around your head, at the end of the day, your skin, your nationality, your heritage, baby, we Black. So I'm not gonna shoot you. You on my side? We all in the same diaspora. So baby, I'm not gonna even blast you for you being on my block right now, because you're spending money at my mom's shop. You know, you see my daughter and you ain't sitting up here trying to shoot her. You got my son and you walk past them, show them the deuces. It was a day for us to put all that other foolishness to the side. Now, if you have personal issues with people, that's different. I mean, personal issues are personal issues, regardless of we got the same skin tone or not. That's a personal issue. But stupid stuff over gangs, like flags and colors, all of that went out the window. And
for us to, like I said, to be just comfortable in our skin, and it's and we don't get a lot of those moments. So when we do get them, we do have to cherish them. Do I understand the whole thing of the victory in, so to speak, it becoming a federal holiday and it being recognized by the masses? I understand that. I understand how, there's a good side to that. I just don't want us, as we tend to do, get so wrapped up in that one part that we forget everything else. We forget the importance of what it actually is, what it actually means, what the real symbolism is, the real, quote unquote, as people like to say, struggle
The meaning of what it is.
Yeah, that the whole don't push it to the side or try to devalue it. And I feel like in a way we have to keep its authenticity.
Yeah,
we have to hold it up to that authenticity. The authentic. Yes,
I said authentic. What is authentic?
Yeah, I'm creating words. Okay, the authentic cloth of who we are and the real meaning behind it. Otherwise, it will get lost and turned into another Cinco de Mayo, another St. Patrick's Day, a Thanksgiving, a Christmas. It'll lose its meaning. And it's important because it is important, that we recognize that date, even though we don't officially know. This is the other thing about history too. We don't officially know that person that they claim is the last slave to be freed was really the last person.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't know that.
We know what it says on somebody's book somewhere. Right, but history is written by the victors. So take that with a grain of salt.
Right, you got to take it with a grain of salt too. Now, will we take it? We'll take the victory, yes. But we have to keep all of this in perspective. And I think that's, for me, is the biggest thing. Let's keep this in perspective. Let's use this since we have this, and since it has been deemed whatever, a holiday nationally, let us as a community capitalize on that. Let us broadcast our businesses more. Let us support our businesses more without complaining the nitty-gritty and
the prices and all of that.
And all of that. Let us also allow, as a business person, not saying you got to give everybody the hookup, but you know what? Let's do this for the culture. So let's take some things from some of these other cultures, that they do with each other, where they wrap each other up in the culture. Oh, because we are just simply of the same culture, we're gonna hold you tight. Let's do that. Let's unify.
Let's be a day.
Come together.
Let it be a day.
And not for no foolishness. Not for a hot girl summer. Not for
we're going to be talking about that, though, so you have your hot girl summer, because we're going to talk about hot girl summer.
We're going to talk about hot girl summer. I'm not saying nothing wrong with the hot girl summer. I'm just saying, let's not let only the hot girl summer be the reason why we come together, or the hoochie daddy shorts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like or a twerk contest, or a pie eating contest, or any type of eating contest. I mean, we like to eat, though, but who doesn't? But I'm just saying, let's unify and capitalize on us being a unit as a culture versus allowing others to capitalize on it, or to dictate how much or
how we celebrate and how we celebrate.
Right. It has happened. It's a holiday. Now it's time for us to own it. You know what I'm saying?
We still have to be in control of it.
Yes. Yeah. And as long as we remain in control of it, I completely, where the holiday is nerve-wracking to an extent, I completely appreciate us as a culture getting that ice cream removed.
Yes.
From Walmart.
And we need to continue to do that. When you see foolishness, call out that foolishness.
Call the foolishness.
Do not let people pander to you. Do not let them capitalize. As she said, don't make this a holiday about ice cream or cooking or anything stereotypical. Because let's be real, Cinco de Mayo has turned into let's all take tequila shots because it's out of Mexico because it's truly a Mexican holiday. And it's not even one of their big ones, to be honest. But it's a Mexican holiday, and because Mexico is known for tequila, America has turned it into the tequila day. And I ain't hating on Cinco de Mayo because that's the birthday of the podcast. And we drink it. So,
right.
But or St. Patrick's
where
Day.
it comes from. We don't want to just take away from their culture in general. You want to recognize all of it.
Or St. Patrick's Day, which has turned into, again, a stereotype about the Irish because people go out and drink and drink and drink and drink. But that's the funny part. The funny part is if you actually look up the history of St. Patrick's Day, it's a little janky. It's janky. It's about a Catholic who went to overtake Ireland and all of the, what was it, Protestant savages? Or I don't remember what they were, but it was it's not
it was a massacre.
It was a massacre. Guys, so let's not allow this to become the holiday of fried chicken and watermelon. And I hate watermelon. So let's really not let this become the holiday of fried chicken and watermelon. But let's not allow this to become a stereotype because that's not what it was for. Juneteenth will always have a place in my heart because I learned a lot about my community and my culture during Juneteenth as a child. As a 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old girl, I had some of the best times of my life walking up and down South Avenue. 4 blocks. I had some great times with my friends, with my mother, because my mom came with me to Juneteenth once, and we walked, man, and this old man tried to hit on my mother and me, and it was hilarious. Ty Michelle, it was hilarious. Because we were walking, because we used to walk on the south side anyway. Like me and my mom, we knew the south side. I like to walk. So we were walking, man, this old man was washing his, when I tell you, God, my mother she older than me, okay? My mother she wasn't a spring chicken when she had me. She wasn't old, but she was solid. So there's a gap between me and my mother is my point. Like my mama looked good. She looked good. Don't do that. But it was a gap, okay? So I was 12, like my mom was in her 40s, right? She was young, but she wasn't. And this old dude, and when I say old, like he looked like he was my grandfather's age, okay? We walking by and this man stopped washing his car and said, look at the sisters. Hey, I like the little sister. How you doing? My mother said, that's my daughter. He looked. That was the first time I ever seen my mother squat up, y'all, and it was great. It was great.
You were 12.
But you see my mother, you met my mother. Like my mother and her mother, our mothers are the same type of chill, okay? Miss Denise and Miss Patricia are the same level of chill. We're not going to raise a voice. We are going to do this as ladies. We are going to be comical. My mother said, now, y'all, my mother was raised in the hood, but you would never know this about my mother if you ever met her. But all of the West Side came out of my mama. She said, that's my daughter. He said, oh, I'm so sorry. She said, yo. But anyway, so Juneteenth has a place in my heart, is what I'm saying. Juneteenth has a place in my heart.
I'm just still picturing mom like turn gangster, like you was. Like, I saw her like mom sitting down and then turn gangster, and my brain did like a spin around real quick. She had on a bandana.
Y'all, she did. If you ever seen Nicki Minaj do the she had that look. She had the Nicki Minaj. She was a dark skinned Nicki Minaj. Like what? He said, look at the sisters. Ooh, the little sister. My mama said, that's my daughter. I said, oh, she's going to kill you. She's going to kill you on your own property.
You're about to die.
You're about to die. He was old enough to be her father. That's why I think she was like, have you lost your mind?
Lost your ever loving mind. And then for you to single out, especially the youngest one,
said the little sister. My mother
all
said,
red flags. All red flags.
Oh no. We were literally walking past this man and she turned because we were walking up and he stopped when he saw us. We walked past when he made this comment. So we're still walking. She stopped and the whole turn was like, I said, oh. That's my daughter. I said, oh, snap. You're going to die. You're going to die. You're going to die. I don't want to be responsible for that. I'm only 12 years old. You're going to die.
Mamas get gangsters for their babies, okay?
You ain't got to tell me my grandmother went in somebody's house and snatched her out and beat her behind because of my mama. Well, she didn't snatch the woman out of her house. Her friend snatched her out the house. But my grandmama threw her in the prickle bushes and beat her. No, she wanted to make that distinction. I didn't pull her out her house. She was in her porch and I snatched her out the door. Now, Miss Rosie or whoever her friend was, she went in the house, but I didn't go in the house. I just pulled her through her door. I said, none of. This is why I don't have kids, y'all. This is why I don't have kids.
But when you start talking legals, it matters.
You went, you reached her. But then she was like, yeah, and then when your uncle came home from work, I got on the back of his motorcycle, told him to get me out of there because the cops was coming. I love my family, guys. I love my family.
Siobhan got fugitives on the run.
I love my family and my grandmother. This is my favorite grandma, y'all. Rest in peace to her. That was my lady. And
grandma was a thug.
She was. Listen.
Translation, don't make Siobhan mad because she got
y'all know, listen. I know this is way off Juneteenth right now, but y'all really, I'm so the chill sister. But y'all ask Michelle, man, at her wedding, man, I got mad one time and raised my voice. And her and Eureka both was like, I'm gonna shut up.
I know we be loud sometimes, but when she raised her voice, one, I was already in an emotional state because it was my wedding and I had some other things going on and it was a lot. Okay. I thought I was dying. When she raised her voice, I was like, and I told my husband, Siobhan yelled. He was like, what?
Y'all, I'm loud and I'm passionate. So y'all know everybody gets used to this tone because I'm elevated. Yo, I yelled. I said, shut. I said, everybody be quiet. Her and Eureka was both like, and then I brought it back down. Now, I would like to apologize for what we did. We should have done better. I'm sorry for that. But that, y'all. But that's the family I come from, y'all. We quiet. The women in my family, you would not, my mama's side, you would not think. You would think we chill with RBF, rest in bitch face, for those who don't know. But you get us annoyed, man, we squad. We squad real quick. But anyway, so Juneteenth has a special place in my heart, and I don't want to see it turned into Cinco de Mayo, St. Patrick's Day, or the day of fried chicken and watermelon. I want us to protect it. I want us to hold on to it. It's ours. And I understand, I really do understand wanting to be acknowledged, but to me, at what cost? At what cost? Because everybody always with the Tony's so white and Oscar's so white, and why you care so much? Why do you care so much? Do you really need that much validation from quote unquote others that you then in the next week turn around and you're mad because when they steal your dance and put it on their TikTok, they now have an endorsement or on Jimmy Kimmel and 45 million views where you only have 2 million. We cannot play both sides, man. You can't, because the reason they think that's okay is because it's like, well, they're constantly looking for validation at our Oscars, so we're giving them homage in our TikToks. They should be grateful. That's why we don't allow this to become what it was never meant to be. In our community, we built it to honor, acknowledge, recognize, and remember. And it needs to still be a day of honoring, recognizing, remembering. It needs to still stay there forever. Yeah. For us. And whatever they want to do with it, I'm not going to say cool. Whatever they try to do with it, you still need to check that. You still need to check it. Because they started selling pork. If they made Ramadan a national holiday and started selling like pork sandwiches, Muslims would riot in the streets and they would stop that foolishness. So what y'all did with the Walmart, with the ice cream, yes, because that was foolish. This is not a holiday of foolishness. It's serious. Do we get together? Do we have fun? Do we party it up? Yes. Hey guys, don't shoot each other on Juneteenth, man. Just take the day off, okay? Just take the day off. And I'm serious when I say this, like, because again, I've seen it. Put the community, if no other day out of the year, put the community first for the culture on Juneteenth every year. And don't even do one day of Juneteenth. Do the 13th through the 9th. Do the whole week, the whole 6 days, 13 through 19. It's just, we're not doing that. We're not doing that for Juneteenth. We're not doing that. The whole team, all the teams in June, we're not doing that. Catch me on the 20th. You should have done it on the 12th. We're not doing that.
Yeah, and my final words of this is the way that we do that is to properly teach our children where I didn't know, or maybe I did and it's not connecting. Let's not give our children that opportunity for it not to connect. Mm-hmm. Let's make this, since it's a federal national holiday, let's choose that time to educate. We have a quote unquote holiday outside of Black History Month, as they, like to say. So use it to educate, between, that's the way we keep the authenticity.
You really refuse to say that word correctly.
Authenticity.
Thank you. Authenticity. That's what you got. That's it. Not authentic, not I don't know where you are.
Oh, and I know this word.
I know these words. Oh my God.
That's the way that we keep that authentic is by teaching the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, and educating even those outside of our culture, just to educate them so that they can appreciate the holiday when it's being recognized in its proper way. We're not asking for anyone to kiss our butt or worship us or none of that. Just acknowledge it, recognize it, and respect it, like she said. And the way to do that is just to continue to teach the truth, teach its true meaning, and move on. Keep going. Find something else to create to go along with it. Use it as a building block in our community. So that's what I have. So on that note, we say cheers to that. Wait, hold up.
That wasn't it either. That wasn't it. Yeah, I don't have. You usually do the ding, man.
I know my ding has been up. Hold up.
I don't have a whole.
Better. Hold on. There you go.
Cheers to that. Listen, it took like 40 minutes to cheers.
Take one, take two, take three.
So cheers. I'm gonna ask you first. What do you think? Since your glass is not empty, I've had like 2 over here. What's your thought on the red blend?
So honestly, I had forgot that we was drinking wine until I saw you pour your second glass, and I was like, "Oh,
yes, yeah. This is a wine podcast." For those who don't know, and apparently the co-host forgot, this is a wine podcast. We sip, we wine while I literally said in the intro where we wine while we wine. You only did one. And I ranted for half of it, so you had time to wine. She didn't know the assignment, y'all. The assignment.
I skipped the assignment.
I'm not gonna hand that in.
I went straight from morning announcements, objective, and dismissal.
No assignments were completed. No assignments
were complete. I was here though. I was here for the lecture.
You were present, but no assignments were complete.
Interactive. I got participation for classwork.
Wow.
I got participation for it.
But you didn't do any of the handouts. Okay, so I'm gonna give mine. I'm gonna say this is honestly the best red blend I've had. This entire podcast year, this is the best red blend I've had. And y'all know, if y'all are a fellow whiner and have been whining with us, y'all know I don't do the reds. I like red bones, but I like white wine. You know what I'm saying? So So this has been the best red blend. Now I'm still not a huge fan of red, so it is only gonna go but so high. But it's a medium body. It said dark cherry, and I definitely got that. It said this soft, supple mouth feel and ripe notes of dark cherry intertwined for a deliciously satisfying blend that culminates in a long, silky fit. And it is a long, silky fit. Y'all, this is just prophecy. Y'all, okay. Y'all make me want to try your Cabernet Sauvignon and Pinot Noir, and I hate both of them. But this right here was good. Like, I will give this a 3.5. Because I really don't like red. I still don't like red. But y'all red is like the best. So if you're from Prophecy, this is on my red scale. My red scale, y'all are a 3.5. On the curve, that's like a 4.5. It's like a 4.5. Because y'all know, like, I'm real discerning with my whites, man. My white scale is tough. My rosé scale is like Ty, like we're not really rosé fans over here. So like my rosé and my red scale are similar. So on my red scale, because I really expect like a 0.5 for most reds. Like I have no expectations, no high hopes. Y'all were a 3.5. This was this. If somebody asked me, do I want a red, like that's what I have to have, I'm gonna say I want this 2017 red blend from Prophecy. I don't know if y'all 2020 is better or not, because red's supposed to get better with age. So y'all, wow, that's like 5 years.
We don't have the same. I have a 2018.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the 17. So, but you're not too far off. I don't know if a year makes a big difference. I did see a sommelier do one that was like 5, 10, and 20 years, and I know that had a big difference, but I don't know if one is off. But the 17, y'all. So if this, I would be curious to see what this is aged, like how a red is supposed to be, like a good 10 years. So if I could find like a 2012, y'all let me know, because I want that.
Yeah, I'm actually interested. For the wine out that you guys make sure you watch at the last Saturday of this month.
Saturday. Because it's
where we taste all of these wines. Now knowing that mine is a year younger than hers, I am very interested in tasting to see what the differences are between the two. I think that will be a neat tasting, like this, something new. If it's minor, if it's a lot, if it's major, if it's more potent, or I'm interested to see how this is going to go. My rating for this is going to be a 3.5 as well. I will not go as far as saying that this is the best red blend that I've had, although it is good. The silky taste at the end allows it to linger, and the acidity, and from the red, it does stay in your mouth longer. It does give you that lingering feeling. It's not overwhelming and overbearing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
This to me would be a great candle. The smell of this,
the smell is great.
It's awesome. But I generally like the black cherry scent anyway, so that makes sense. But yeah, 3.5 for me. I feel like this would be a good dinner wine, where like if you go and you don't know exactly what you're gonna have, but you're gonna have some type of protein, I would probably stay away from the seafood. But like a hefty piece of chicken, or a steak or a pork chop, or something like that, this would pair really, really nicely with, if you're like going out and you don't know what you're gonna have. I just wouldn't have this with seafood. But
yeah, I agree.
But anything else, I think that this would pair nicely with. I enjoyed this.
This is more of an herby thing than a sauce too. Like if you're gonna do this, I wouldn't do this with a barbecue sauce.
No.
Or like an Alfredo, no sauces. I would do this with something very herby, like herb crusted something.
Yep. A nice grilled.
Yeah.
Just keep it plain, keep it classic. I think a classic dish would go well with this, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that's our ratings for our popping grapes experience with hashtag prophecy.
Grab a prophecy.
So yeah, tell us your prophecy. Grab a prophecy. Hashtag grab a prophecy. Ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the wonderful conclusion of another month.
Well, not yet. We got one more because it's a 5-week month.
It's a 5-week month.
We doing why? So next week, y'all, will be Journey to Fitness.
Journey to Fitness. Ooh.
It's dry, y'all. So when we say grab a glass of water at the beginning, we mean that because we will have water.
We will have water.
We'll have water.
We will have water.
Don't forget to wine with us live this Saturday, June 25th at 3 p.m. on YouTube or Instagram.
And we're gonna taste the not the entire line, the majority of the line of prophecy, y'all. So you'll get our honest reviews, our honest thoughts, us processing, the brand itself. We will even talk about the wonderful artists of these bottles. It is a young lady of Asian descent. I cannot remember her name off the top of my head. But if you go to prophecywinery.com, I think that's the correct website, or just Google Prophecy Wines, it'll come up. And it's a beautiful website. They go into detail about the artwork and X, Y, and Z. It's a nice read if you have some free time. So do that as well. But we'll be reviewing majority of the line live on YouTube and Instagram. So be sure that you join us then. And as we wrap up this wonderful episode, ladies and gentlemen, I am Tae Michelle.
Y yo soy Chevon Camille.
Je m'appelle who?
I said, yo soy Chevon Camille.
Okay.
I didn't say je m'appelle nothing, but je m'appelle Chevon Camille.
Okay.
So you just got to put the French in there. I was Spanish, but since you have to put the French in there.
That's about as much as I know of French.
Yeah. Mi nome es Chevon Camille.
Okay, Italian, no.
That's what I got.
Italiente.
Or I cannot do a Portuguese Brazilian accent for my life. Like that thing is hard for me, y'all, but
everything is hard for me. I feel like the only thing that my brain would function correctly with is French. I do know why. It just is what it is. I think if I'm going to learn a foreign language, it would have to be French. I don't think my brain will tolerate anything else. Like I don't have control of my brain, but But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you all next week. This is one of those long sayonara's.
Indeed.
So, as we like to say, be sure to join us next week for more laughs, more fun, and of course, more wine. And remember,
there's nothing wrong with a little wine or a lot.
Bye, y'all. See y'all live on Saturday, 3 p.m. Toodles.
Thank you for whining with us on this episode of A Little Something to Whine About. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to join us live the last Saturday of every month on YouTube or Instagram. And we'll see you next Wednesday for more fun, more laughs, and of course, more wine.